What's going on, everybody? Phantom139 here, and welcome back to Destiny 2. It seems like I don't really do many gameplay videos, so I decided to do one. And a Happy New Year to everyone. We are celebrating the final day of the decade today, so a happy 2020 to everyone. Today we're going to be going through the dungeon Pit of Heresy, and I'm going to showcase another one of my solo dungeon run videos, only this time I'm not going to have my microphone audio, but just the background gameplay volume. I'm going to talk strategies for each encounter, so if you guys still need to go get that Crimson Echoes emblem, you can try to follow along with what I'm doing here. Note, some things will change from season to season, especially with the artifact system and some weapons that may or may not be overpowered, which I recently discussed in my State of Destiny 2 video. So with that, let's get into it. We're going to start with the Necropolis encounter, which is the very first encounter in the dungeon. This is a very straightforward encounter where you have to go to 3 different rooms and collect 3 different enemy corpses by means of killing them. So what you do is you just drop on down to the very first tower and you will kill the Pit Keeper Knight. Now you have to be careful with this guy because he has a boomer and he hurts a lot. So drop him and the force field will open up into the room. Inside the room, there is an accursed swordbearer, which you will need to kill, and you will notice 3 symbols. Each of these refers to one of the 3 rooms, so we're just going to go ahead and go to each of the rooms one by one. For this encounter, I'm using my Warlock, and I'm using my healing build, which is the Bottom Tree Void with the Nezraxen helmet. What this does is allows you to stack the Devour buff to get health back on each kill, and Nezraxen allows you to regenerate your Void Grenade to continually have that Devour buff. I am using the Wish Ender bow for this encounter. It is broken right now. In the case that it does get patched, a good alternative option for a primary is Izanagi's Burden, with Recluse or some good ad-clearing secondary weapon available to you. So you're going to go to each of the rooms and kill the 3 boss level enemies. There is a knight which must be damaged by swinging your sword at him with the melee attack. You can also use the super of the sword to do big damage to him. There is the Shrieker, which you must deflect the bolts of the Shrieker back at it to damage it. And finally, there is the Wizard, which you need to use the range bolts attack to hit the Wizard. You can also use the sword super on the Wizard, but you have to be careful not to be next to the Wizard when it is launching a barrage of arc bolts, otherwise you will be killed with the damage. While you're going to each of these rooms, you will notice that there are ads that can spawn periodically. The most dangerous of these are the Ogres. They are boss tier enemies, so you'll want to take those out as quickly as possible. Some other pests include acolytes with sniper rifles and knights with boomers. Once you kill all 3 of the boss tier enemies, look for the area with the green beam, and we're just going to head on down there and kill the final knight to move into the next area. In this next region, you'll be transitioning through a wall. Just drop down into the hole that you see me doing there. If you try to go through any of the doors, it's an insta-kill, so don't do it. There is a bug that can happen when you are transitioning between these 2 zones where you will die. If this happens, don't quit your run. Bungie has acknowledged that this is a bug and it will not affect your flawless run if you are attempting a solo flawless run. The second full encounter is the Ogre encounter. It's located in the pit itself. What we're going to do is we're going to try to locate 3 orbs, which we will dunk on each of the 3 sides. I usually go from right to left. So what we're going to do is we're going to run forward and open up the little holes in the wall. You have to crouch to get through them. And you're going to kill the boss tier knight in here to drop a void orb. Do be careful that there are a bunch of other adds that spawn in here, including some thrall, which you will probably want to take out as quickly as possible. Once you get an orb, you'll want to go back into the alleyway, but be careful because the ogre is there. If you are a warlock or a hunter, this part will be incredibly easy for you because as a warlock you can relic skate. There are numerous videos that show you how to do this, but I'm just doing it here to show you how to do it. Just get right up next to the ogre, slap him with the relic as soon as he slams to negate the push, and then relic swing your way out of there as quickly as possible. If you're a hunter, you can do the same thing, except you can go invisible. If you're a titan, you'll probably have to play this encounter normally using the cubby holes in the wall to hide from the ogre until you can move forward. Once you collect all 3 orbs and dunk them on all 3 sides, you are done with this encounter and you're on to the next encounter, which is the hardest of the dungeon. The third encounter in the dungeon is everyone's favorite encounter. This will be the equivalent of the Vorgeth encounter in terms of lethality in ending runs. It is the Totem encounter. The goal of this encounter is to grab and dunk 6 orbs into the deposit point located behind the totem. To do this, you will need to kill knights. Well, the only problem is you have to defend the totem in the middle to prevent it from wiping you, while being under siege by a relentless amount of adds that are trying to grenade you to death, or in terms of thrall, scratch you out of existence. So generally what I like to do is run my Devour build here as well. I will kill a few adds, pop Devour, and then just start killing them one by one. Again, the Wish Ender is a great choice right now due to its lethality and bug, but if they do patch it, a good alternative is to use the Lemonarch bow, because the Void arrows will actually proc your Nezarec Sin helmet here. A secondary choice in terms of having Wish Ender active is the Python shotgun from Gambit's Ritual quest this season, or any other good shotgun to deal with adds that get up in your face, like Thrall or the Cursed Thrall, which will try to detonate on you. When the Wish Ender bug does get fixed, if you're using Le Monarch, you will probably want a sniper rifle in your primary slot, so something like Tranquility with box breathing is a good choice to take out the Boomer Knights. The flow of this encounter is quite straightforward. What you're going to want to do is you're going to start by weakening a knight on one of the sides, and then you're going to head over there and kill him, grab the orb and bring it back to the middle. As soon as you dunk the orb, there will be a wave of Thrall and 2 Boomer Knights that spawn on the top. These will need to be eliminated. Generally, the idea here is you want to kill whatever is closest to you or doing the most damage to you at the specific time. If there's acolytes throwing grenades at you, you'll probably want to just move. Ideally, you never stop moving during this encounter. If you stop moving for anything aside from dropping a rift or dunking an orb, you're probably going to die. So keep moving, avoid the grenades, dish out damage, proc your healing buffs, and you will get through this. It is a long slog, it takes a while, and I understand it can be quite frustrating to get down, but once you get into a rhythm, this flows really quickly. Another good thing to try doing is when you have 2 orbs remaining, like I do in this approach here, I will gather both orbs and drop one in the middle and go get the second orb and drop it in the middle, then dunk both of them at the same time. This directly ends the encounter, so you don't have to wait any longer. Once you're done with the totems, you have a very dangerous section where you have to drop down avoiding traps. This can be quite frustrating if you mess it up, because you just got through the hardest encounter in the dungeon, and if you die here, well, press F to pay respects. The next encounter is the maze encounter. In this area, there are 3 wizards that need to be taken out. They will have 3 symbols on the wall when you first come in that shows where they're at. I don't have a map for this encounter. Usually what I do is I just run right to left and I just look for ads, because the wizards will be where there are a bunch of acolytes together. So if you see a collection of ads on your radar, you're probably in the right spot. So you're gonna go from platform to platform, take out the ads, and kill the 3 wizards to open the door into the final encounter. Once you get down to the final encounter, you are now at the boss fight. Now usually when you're with a group this goes really easily, but remember you're playing by yourself here, so you have to do some different things to make it out alive. At this point in the encounter I switch to my damage build, which is the top tree Nova Bomb. I have a Tranquility with box breathing and auto-loading holster with a boss spec mod on it, although in this video I accidentally equipped my firing line one. I do switch it later on. For my secondary I have a Recluse, but again this will be where you want your ad clearing weapon at. And then for the heavy, this is important, you want Anarchy. Anarchy allows you to have a secondary amount of damage on the boss while you're dealing damage with another weapon. So to start the encounter, what I like to do is I like to head over to the Knight Tower first. If you're coming in, it is the one on your left. Take out one of the accursed sword bearers to start the encounter, but don't pick up a sword right away. Instead, you're going to want to go and kill the acolytes that are in the tower. They will continuously grenade you if you're holding a sword. Just trust me here. Go kill them first. Grab the sword and then take out the knight. Now, a lot of you might be inclined to pick up that orb as soon as it drops. I'm going to tell you now, don't do it. It's okay to let the orb drop. The orb will despawn eventually, but once you dunk your last orb, any orbs that haven't been dunked will respawn. So go ahead and leave it on the ground and just start working your way to the Shrieker Tower next. As soon as I get to the Shrieker Tower, I just start holding my block button and I take out the Shrieker with what little sword energy I have left. Sometimes if I'm lucky, I can actually keep enough energy to kill the wizard as well. Once the Shrieker is down, again I leave the orb, and I head over to the Wizard Tower last. What you can do with the Wizard is a little trick that I figured out a while back. If you're jumping in the air and then you do the sword swing, it will create a sword projectile that actually acts like a kinetic grenade in a way, so that it will actually move forward and then track down. What's special about this projectile though is if you manage to hit the wizard in the face with this projectile, it will temporarily blind the wizard. So what I like to do is I like to unleash a barrage of these jump swings to continuously blind the wizard until my super is ready. Then I will run in and slam the wizard with the super to deal a large chunk of damage. If you do this right, you can get 2 supers or have enough sword energy to kill all 3 bosses with one sword so you don't have to go back to the middle. Sometimes you have to get a new one, but in most cases, if you time it right, you can kill all 3 with one sword. Once I have that last orb, what I do is I pick up the Wizard Tower orb and then I run past the Wizard Tower dunk site and go to the Knight Tower dunk site and dunk it there, because the boss will likely be camping the dunk spot next to the Wizard Tower. Once I have that, I will go and dunk at the Wizard Tower using the orb from the Knight Tower. This will leave the Shrieker Tower alone. Once you have 2 orbs dunked, you are going to switch into add clear mode. So clear out everything except 1 Sword Knight. They do respawn. So you're going to want to get that one last Sword Knight down to 1 shot or able to be finished. Once you have this, you're going to go grab the last orb and you're going to drop it next to the dunk site. You're ideally going to want to have the boss positioned in a way that he cannot see your dunk site, because as soon as you start the damage phase, he launches an attack at you, which is quite damaging. So once the orb is in position, kill the last knight and dunk. Now, here's if you have Anarchy, you can do one last little thing. If you have an Anarchy, right before you dunk the orb, go ahead and put a shot on the boss and one on the ground, then dunk. That way you're dealing damage as soon as you dunk that orb. As a Warlock, what I like to do is I like to throw one fully charged grenade at the boss and then my Nova Bomb, immediately switch to my Tranquility and unload a full clip into the boss. What I'll do after that is I will put 2 Anarchy shots back on the boss to continue the damage and switch to my Recluse to deal with the Cursed Thrall that spawned. Make sure you have that crystal between you and the boss at the time, because he will try to put a fire ring on you, which will kill you if you get stuck in that thing. Once I kill some Cursed Thrall, I switch back to my Anarchy, put 2 more shots on him, then unleash another full round of Tranquility shots on the boss. This will allow you to get a massive amount of damage, and if you do it right, you can get upwards of half damage, maybe even more on 1 damage phase. Ideally, if you get full damage, you can take him down in 2 phases, but at this point, it becomes a rinse, wash, and repeat. hopefully that shows you how everything is done, and I hope you are able to get your Crimson Echoes emblems yourselves. See you later.